Welcome back to Eternal Peace, where we dive deep into the timeless wisdom of life's most important lessons, all through the lens of relatable stories and inspiring teachings. Have you ever wondered what the secret to true happiness is? What if I told you that the answers to life's biggest questions were already out there hidden in the ancient teachings of someone who lived over 2,500 years ago? That's right. Today, we're exploring the profound and timeless wisdom of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. His teachings, still just as relevant today as when he first shared them, hold the answers to some of life's most complex struggles. But here's the twist. Buddha's lessons aren't about dogma or religious rituals. They're simple, practical truths lessons about how to find balance in our lives, how to handle stress and suffering, and how to build a life that is truly fulfilling. Now, you might be thinking, what could an ancient philosopher possibly have to teach me in today's fast-paced, chaotic world? Well, stay with me, because the wisdom we're about to uncover will completely change the way you view your everyday challenges. We're going to break down the core principles of Buddhism in a way that speaks directly to your life today. From navigating personal struggles to building more meaningful relationships, these lessons apply to everyone, no matter where you're from or what your background is. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button if you're ready for a journey of self-discovery. Share this video with someone who could use a little inspiration. And of course, subscribe to Eternal Peace for more content like this. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. So, grab a seat, take a deep breath, and let's uncover the wisdom that Buddha has to offer for our modern lives. Siddhartha Gautama, better known as the Buddha, left behind teachings that resonate across centuries and cultures, offering timeless insights into human existence and the challenges we face. His philosophy emphasizes understanding suffering, finding balance, and cultivating compassion. These lessons are as relevant today as they were over 2 millennia ago, as they address the universal struggles of desire, attachment, and the quest for fulfillment. At the heart of Buddha's teachings is the concept of the middle way, a life of balance that avoids the extremes of indulgence and deprivation. This philosophy stemmed from his own experiences. Born into opulence, he saw firsthand that material wealth could not shield one from life's harsh realities: sickness, aging, and death. Later, as an ascetic, he pushed his body to the brink of collapse, yet found that extreme self-denial only deepened his suffering. These contrasting experiences led him to the realization that a balanced approach is the key to liberation from suffering. In today's world, this lesson holds immense relevance. Many people chase material success, believing it will bring happiness, only to feel empty upon achieving their goals. Others might swing to the opposite extreme, renouncing comforts in search of spiritual meaning, yet find themselves struggling with unmet basic needs. The middle way teaches us to seek just enough, to value what truly matters without becoming ensnared by excess or scarcity. Another cornerstone of Buddha's teachings is the understanding of suffering through the Four Noble Truths. He identified suffering, dukkha, as an inevitable part of life, arising from desires and attachments. This does not mean that all desires are inherently bad, but rather that clinging to them as sources of lasting happiness leads to discontent. For instance, consider the modern phenomenon of consumerism. Many of us equate happiness with acquiring the latest gadget, car, or luxury item. Yet, the thrill of acquisition fades quickly, leaving us wanting more. Buddha's insight invites us to reflect on the root of these desires and to cultivate a mindset that finds contentment in simplicity. A young professional, for example, might initially aspire to a high-paying job to afford a lavish lifestyle, but later realize that meaningful relationships and personal growth bring greater joy than material possessions ever could. One of the most profound lessons from Buddha is the importance of responding mindfully rather than reacting impulsively. He taught that our reactions to situations often cause more distress than the situations themselves. This principle is vividly illustrated in daily life. Imagine spilling coffee on your shirt before a big meeting. In frustration, you lash out at your partner for not helping you find a clean one, creating unnecessary tension. Alternatively, you could take a deep breath, calmly change your shirt, and proceed with your day without letting the incident affect your mood. This ability to pause, reflect, and choose a measured response is the essence of mindfulness. It empowers us to navigate life's challenges with grace and clarity, avoiding the spirals of negativity that can arise from knee-jerk reactions. Buddha also emphasized the concept of karma, not as a cosmic system of reward and punishment, but as the natural consequences of our actions, rooted in our intentions. Good intentions lead to positive outcomes, while harmful intentions create suffering. This principle reminds us of the importance of cultivating compassion and integrity in our daily lives. For instance, a manager who treats their team with respect and fairness is likely to inspire loyalty and cooperation, fostering a positive work environment. Conversely, a manager who acts out of selfishness or anger may face resistance and resentment, ultimately hindering their own success. The lesson here is clear. Our choices shape our experiences, and by aligning our actions with kindness and ethical values, we create a better future for ourselves and those around us. Living in the present moment is another critical teaching of Buddha. He urged his followers to embrace mindfulness to fully engage with whatever they were doing, whether eating, walking, or working. This idea may seem simple, but it can be transformative in a world where distractions abound. Consider how often we multitask, scrolling through social media while eating dinner or daydreaming during conversations. By splitting our attention, we miss out on the richness of the present. Practicing mindfulness allows us to savor each moment, deepening our appreciation for life's simple pleasures. For instance, enjoying a cup of tea without distractions can become a small but profound act of meditation, helping us reconnect with ourselves and the world around us. Buddha's insights into the power of habits also remain deeply relevant. He likened the accumulation of good habits to filling a pot with water, drop by drop. This metaphor highlights the importance of consistency and patience in personal growth. For example, a student preparing for a difficult exam might feel overwhelmed by the sheer amount of material to study. However, by breaking the task into manageable chunks and committing to daily progress, they can gradually build the knowledge and confidence needed to succeed. Similarly, someone seeking to adopt healthier habits such as exercising regularly or eating nutritious meals can start small, making incremental changes that eventually lead to significant transformations. The wisdom of silence is another profound teaching. Buddha observed that those who are truly wise often speak less, choosing their words carefully and avoiding unnecessary chatter. In today's digital age, where social media amplifies every opinion and disagreement, this lesson is especially poignant. We often feel compelled to voice our thoughts on every issue, even when we lack full understanding. By practicing restraint and listening more, we open ourselves to learning and deepen our connections with others. For instance, in a heated debate, taking the time to understand the other person's perspective can defuse tension and foster mutual respect, whereas impulsively arguing back may only escalate the conflict. Buddha's teachings on compassion are equally timeless. He believed that hatred could only be overcome by love and understanding, not by more hatred. This principle has been exemplified by leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. and Mahatma Gandhi, who championed nonviolence in the face of injustice. On a smaller scale, we can practice this lesson in our daily interactions. When faced with rudeness or criticism, responding with kindness can break the cycle of negativity. For example, if a coworker snaps at you during a stressful moment, offering to help lighten their workload rather than retaliating can transform the dynamic and foster goodwill. Finally, Buddha emphasized the value of quality over quantity in relationships. He taught that surrounding oneself with noble and virtuous companions is essential for personal growth. In our lives, this might mean prioritizing deep, meaningful connections over having a large social circle. A close-knit group of supportive friends can provide encouragement and guidance during tough times, whereas superficial relationships often fail to offer genuine support. For example, an athlete training for a marathon might benefit more from the encouragement of a dedicated coach and a few fellow runners than from a large group of acquaintances who lack shared goals. Through these teachings, Buddha reminds us that the path to enlightenment is not about grand gestures or extraordinary feats. It is about the small, intentional choices we make each day, choices that shape our character, our relationships, and ultimately, our destiny. His wisdom continues to inspire people around the world to live with greater awareness, balance, and compassion, proving that the lessons of the past remain deeply relevant to the challenges of the present. The Middle Way, one of Buddha's most profound teachings, stands as a timeless reminder that balance is the key to a fulfilling life. His rejection of both indulgent wealth and extreme asceticism stems from personal experience. Siddhartha Gautama was born into royalty, surrounded by luxury. Yet this privilege did not shield him from the existential truths of sickness, aging, and death. Later, in his quest for enlightenment, he pursued asceticism to such an extreme that his body nearly failed him. It was only when he embraced a path of moderation, neither clinging to indulgence nor depriving himself of essential needs, that he achieved clarity and enlightenment. This realization is not just a spiritual teaching. It resonates deeply in the modern context of work-life balance, financial stability, and mental well-being. In today's fast-paced world, many people find themselves trapped in the relentless pursuit of success. The corporate executive who works 70-hour weeks, sacrificing time with their family for promotions and bonuses, is a clear example of imbalance. While society often glorifies such dedication as ambition, the reality is that this kind of overcommitment can lead to burnout, strained relationships, and declining mental health. On the other hand, completely rejecting ambition and becoming complacent can also leave individuals unfulfilled, financially insecure, and lacking purpose. The Middle Way offers a solution, finding harmony between professional aspirations and personal well-being. Imagine a corporate leader who, after years of prioritizing work over family, begins to notice the toll it has taken on their relationships. Their children hardly know them, their spouse feels neglected, and they themselves feel disconnected from the joys of everyday life. After a health scare, they decide to reassess their priorities. Instead of working late nights every day, they start setting boundaries, dedicating weekends to family activities, and leaving work emails unanswered after dinner. Though they may take longer to climb the corporate ladder, they find a new sense of fulfillment in being present for their loved ones. This decision reflects the essence of the Middle Way, rejecting extremes and embracing just enough. Financial stability is another area where the Middle Way applies. Modern society often equates happiness with wealth, leading many to work tirelessly in pursuit of bigger paychecks and more possessions. Yet studies consistently show that beyond a certain point, additional income does not significantly increase happiness. A young couple, for instance, might spend years saving for a luxury home, believing it will bring them contentment, only to find themselves stressed by the high mortgage and maintenance costs. Conversely, someone who completely avoids financial planning, living paycheck to paycheck without saving for emergencies or retirement, may face anxiety and hardship in the long run. The Middle Way teaches that financial well-being lies in striking a balance, earning enough to meet needs and save for the future while avoiding the trap of excessive materialism. Mental health, too, benefits from this philosophy of balance. On one end of the spectrum, overworking without adequate rest can lead to anxiety, depression, and physical ailments. On the other, avoiding challenges altogether and seeking constant comfort can prevent personal growth. Consider the example of a student preparing for final exams. If they push themselves to study for 12 hours a day without breaks, they risk exhaustion and diminishing returns on their efforts. However, if they procrastinate and spend their time relaxing instead of preparing, they set themselves up for failure. By adopting a balanced approach, studying for manageable periods with scheduled breaks, they not only retain information more effectively, but also maintain their mental and emotional well-being. The Middle Way also encourages mindfulness, which helps individuals recognize when they are veering toward unhealthy extremes. In practical terms, mindfulness means paying attention to one's thoughts, emotions, and actions without judgment. For instance, someone who finds themselves compulsively checking their phone during dinner might pause to consider whether this behavior aligns with their values. Recognizing the need for balance, they could make a conscious effort to put their phone away during meals. fostering more meaningful interactions with loved ones. In a broader societal context, the middle way can guide communities and governments in addressing issues like economic inequality and environmental sustainability. Excessive consumerism and resource exploitation harm the planet and perpetuate inequality, while extreme austerity measures can lead to widespread suffering. Policies that promote sustainable practices, fair wages, and equitable access to resources embody the spirit of the middle way, balancing economic growth with social and environmental responsibility. The principle of balance extends to self-care, which is often overlooked in today's culture of productivity. People are frequently encouraged to hustle and grind, with rest and relaxation framed as laziness. However, neglecting self-care can lead to burnout and decreased effectiveness in both work and personal life. A caregiver, for example, might devote all their energy to looking after a sick family member, neglecting their own needs in the process. Over time, this can result in physical and emotional exhaustion, making it harder for them to provide quality care. By taking time to rest, seek support, and recharge, they not only improve their own well-being, but also enhance their ability to help others. The middle way's relevance is further highlighted in the context of technology use. In an age where screens dominate our lives, finding balance is crucial. Spending hours scrolling through social media can lead to feelings of inadequacy and disconnection, while completely avoiding technology may isolate individuals from valuable resources and opportunities. A teenager who balances their screen time with outdoor activities, hobbies, and face-to-face interactions demonstrates the practical application of this principle. Buddha's insight into balance is not about rigidly adhering to a fixed set of rules, but about cultivating self-awareness and adaptability. Each person's version of the middle way may look different, depending on their circumstances and values. For some, it might mean working part-time to spend more time with family. For others, it could involve setting aside a portion of their income for charitable causes while still saving for personal goals. The key is to avoid extremes and to make intentional choices that support overall well-being. Ultimately, the middle way is a reminder that life's greatest fulfillment often comes not from what we achieve or acquire, but from how we live in harmony with ourselves, others, and the world around us. By embracing balance in all aspects of life, we can navigate challenges with greater clarity, build deeper connections, and find lasting peace and happiness. Understanding suffering is at the core of Buddha's teachings, encapsulated in the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. These principles illuminate the universal nature of human struggle while offering a practical roadmap to navigate it. Suffering, or dukkha, is not limited to physical pain or misfortune. It includes the dissatisfaction and discontent that arise from unfulfilled desires, unmet expectations, and the transient nature of life. This profound insight, though ancient, holds incredible relevance in the context of modern stress and anxiety. In contemporary life, stress often stems from the constant pressure to meet societal and personal expectations. People are bombarded with messages urging them to achieve more, look better, and outdo their peers. This creates a cycle of anxiety fueled by the fear of failure and the desire for perfection. The Four Noble Truths offer a framework to understand and address these struggles. The first truth acknowledges that suffering is an inherent part of life. This does not mean life is devoid of joy, but highlights that discomfort arises from life's impermanence and unpredictability. For instance, consider someone striving for career success. They might achieve a promotion or salary increase, only to discover that the satisfaction is fleeting, replaced by new goals or stressors. The second truth identifies the cause of suffering as desire and attachment. In modern terms, this can be seen in the relentless pursuit of material possessions, status, or validation. Social media amplifies this tendency, creating a culture where people compare their lives to curated highlights of others. A young professional, for example, might feel inadequate after seeing a peer's vacation photos or career milestones online. This comparison breeds dissatisfaction, as the individual becomes attached to the idea of replicating someone else's perceived success. Recognizing that these desires often lead to unhappiness is the first step toward liberation. The third truth offers hope. Suffering can end by relinquishing attachment and desire. This does not mean abandoning all goals or pleasures, but developing a mindset that allows for contentment regardless of external circumstances. Take the example of a student facing exam pressure. They may initially tie their self-worth to achieving a top grade, causing intense anxiety. By shifting their focus to the effort and learning process rather than the outcome, they can reduce the weight of their expectations. This change in perspective does not eliminate the challenge of the exam, but makes the experience less distressing and more rewarding. The Eightfold Path provides practical guidance for overcoming suffering. It is not a rigid doctrine, but a set of principles that encourage ethical conduct, mental discipline, and wisdom. Right view. The first component involves understanding life's realities without distortion. For someone grappling with stress, this could mean recognizing that setbacks are temporary and not a reflection of their intrinsic worth. Right intention encourages cultivating thoughts of kindness and detachment from harmful desires. For instance, a person might replace their envy of a friend's accomplishments with genuine happiness for their success. Right speech, another element of the path, emphasizes honesty and kindness in communication. This is particularly relevant in the digital age, where impulsive comments or online arguments can escalate conflicts. Practicing thoughtful speech fosters harmony and reduces unnecessary stress. Right action and right livelihood further guide individuals to live ethically, choosing careers and behaviors that align with their values. A worker who prioritizes meaningful contributions over material rewards often finds greater satisfaction and less internal conflict. Right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration focus on cultivating mental discipline. These practices are invaluable in managing stress and anxiety. Mindfulness, for example, trains individuals to stay present, reducing the tendency to dwell on past regrets or future worries. Imagine someone stuck in traffic, feeling frustrated about the delay. Instead of fixating on the time lost, they could use the moment to practice mindful breathing, turning the experience into an opportunity for calm reflection. The Eightfold Path encourages a balanced approach, avoiding the extremes of indulgence and deprivation. This balance is particularly beneficial in high-pressure environments. Consider an athlete preparing for a major competition. If they obsessively train without rest, they risk burnout or injury. Conversely, if they neglect preparation, they might feel unprepared and anxious. By balancing effort with recovery, they enhance both their performance and well-being. In modern life, the teachings of the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path also resonate in relationships. People often experience suffering when they cling to unrealistic expectations of others or themselves. A parent, for instance, might feel frustration when their child fails to meet academic or behavioral standards. By practicing right view, the parent can acknowledge their child's individuality and focus on nurturing their strengths rather than forcing conformity. This shift reduces tension and fosters a healthier bond. Another relatable example lies in workplace dynamics. Employees frequently feel undervalued or overburdened, leading to dissatisfaction. Applying the principles of the Eightfold Path can transform these experiences. Practicing right speech by communicating concerns respectfully and right effort by maintaining a positive attitude toward challenges can help create a more harmonious and productive work environment. The relevance of these teachings extends to personal development. Many people struggle with self-criticism, feeling they are not good enough or failing to meet their own standards. The second and third noble truths remind us that these feelings often stem from attachment to an idealized version of ourselves. Accepting our imperfections and focusing on gradual improvement can lead to greater self-compassion and resilience. A student who struggles with a challenging subject might initially feel demoralized, comparing themselves to more skilled peers. By embracing the Eightfold Path's emphasis on effort and mindfulness, they can celebrate small progress and develop confidence over time. In addressing societal challenges, Buddha's insights also offer guidance. For instance, the increasing prevalence of climate anxiety highlights the tension between individual desires and collective responsibility. The second noble truth points to overconsumption and attachment as drivers of environmental degradation. Adopting a more sustainable lifestyle, aligned with the middle way, not only reduces personal stress but contributes to a healthier planet. This could involve simple actions, such as reducing waste, supporting ethical businesses, or participating in community initiatives. Ultimately, the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path teach that suffering is an inevitable part of life, but it is not insurmountable. By understanding its causes and practicing mindfulness, compassion, and ethical living, individuals can navigate life's challenges with greater ease and purpose. This perspective empowers people to find joy and meaning, not by avoiding difficulties, but by transforming their relationship with them. Whether it is a student overcoming exam pressure, a parent nurturing their child, or an individual finding balance in a hectic world, these ancient teachings remain profoundly relevant, offering timeless wisdom for a more peaceful and fulfilling life. Reacting mindfully is one of the most transformative skills a person can develop, and it is deeply rooted in Buddhist teachings. The importance of this practice lies in its ability to prevent impulsive reactions that often escalate conflict or create unnecessary suffering. In a world filled with constant stimuli and pressures, mindfulness offers a way to pause, reflect, and choose a thoughtful response rather than reacting emotionally. This practice not only helps in maintaining personal peace, but also fosters better relationships and more harmonious interactions. Mindfulness begins with awareness, acknowledging the present moment without judgment. This sounds simple, but in reality, it requires consistent effort. People often react impulsively because they feel threatened, embarrassed, or angry. Consider a common scenario. A driver cuts someone off in traffic. The immediate reaction for many is anger, perhaps honking or shouting. However, this reaction rarely resolves the situation and often leaves the person feeling more frustrated. Mindfulness, in this case, would encourage the driver to pause, take a deep breath, and recognize that the action of the other driver might not have been personal. Perhaps they were distracted or in a hurry. By not taking the incident personally, the driver avoids unnecessary stress and maintains their peace of mind. The same principle applies to conflicts in personal and professional relationships. Imagine a heated argument between colleagues over a missed deadline. Without mindfulness, accusations and defensiveness can quickly spiral into a full-blown conflict, damaging both the relationship and team dynamics. However, if one party practices mindfulness, they can pause before responding, allowing emotions to settle. Instead of reacting with anger or blame, they might say, "I'm upset about the missed deadline because it affects our project, but I'd like to understand what happened so we can prevent this in the future." This approach not only de-escalates tension, but also opens the door to constructive problem solving. Mindfulness techniques are particularly valuable in such moments. One effective method is deep breathing, which helps calm the nervous system and provides a moment of clarity. For instance, a parent dealing with a tantrum-throwing child might feel their patience wearing thin. Instead of yelling, they can take a few slow, deep breaths to center themselves before addressing the situation. This simple practice can make a significant difference, allowing the parent to respond with empathy rather than frustration. Another useful technique is grounding, which involves focusing on the present moment through physical sensations. For example, a person feeling overwhelmed in a high-pressure meeting might silently count their breaths or notice the texture of the chair they are sitting on. This brings their attention back to the present and prevents their mind from spiraling into panic or negative assumptions. Grounding helps individuals stay composed, making it easier to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. The power of mindfulness in conflict resolution is perhaps best illustrated through real-life examples. Consider a teacher faced with a disruptive student in the classroom. Without mindfulness, the teacher might react by yelling or issuing a harsh punishment, escalating the tension and alienating the student. Instead, a mindful teacher takes a moment to observe the situation and assess the underlying cause of the behavior. Perhaps the student is acting out because they are struggling with the material or facing challenges at home. By remaining calm and empathetic, the teacher might approach the student privately, saying, "I noticed you were having a hard time today. Is there something you'd like to talk about? This response not only diffuses the immediate disruption, but also builds trust and creates an opportunity for positive change. Mindfulness also plays a critical role in managing personal emotions. People often carry unresolved feelings from past experiences, which can influence their reactions in the present. For instance, someone who has faced criticism at work might react defensively to even mild feedback, perceiving it as an attack. Mindfulness helps individuals recognize these patterns and separate past experiences from current situations. By acknowledging their emotions without judgment, they can respond more rationally and constructively. A worker receiving feedback might think, "I feel defensive because I've been criticized before, but this feedback is about improving my work, not attacking me personally." This shift in perspective allows them to engage with the feedback productively. In interpersonal relationships, mindfulness can be a game changer. Arguments between partners often escalate because one or both parties react impulsively to perceived slights or misunderstandings. A common example is a disagreement over household chores. One partner might say, "You never help around the house," prompting a defensive response like, "I do plenty, and you just don't notice." The argument can quickly escalate, leading to hurt feelings and resentment. A mindful approach would involve pausing to reflect on the intention behind the statement. Instead of reacting defensively, the partner might say, "I didn't realize you felt that way. Let's talk about how we can share responsibilities more evenly." This response acknowledges the concern without escalating the conflict, fostering understanding and collaboration. Mindfulness also enhances self-awareness, which is essential for maintaining healthy boundaries and preventing burnout. People who react impulsively often do so because they are overwhelmed or stretched too thin. For example, an employee who takes on too many responsibilities might snap at a coworker for making a simple request. Mindfulness helps individuals recognize when they are nearing their limits and need to step back. By taking time for self-care, whether through meditation, exercise, or simply setting aside quiet moments, they can recharge and approach challenges with a clearer, calmer mindset. In professional settings, mindfulness can improve not only individual well-being, but also team dynamics. A manager who practices mindfulness is better equipped to handle workplace conflicts and foster a positive environment. Instead of reacting harshly to mistakes, they might approach them as learning opportunities. For instance, if a team member misses a deadline, the manager could say, "Let's discuss what happened and how we can adjust our process to avoid this in the future." This approach reduces defensiveness and encourages collaboration, creating a culture of accountability and support. Mindfulness is not about suppressing emotions or avoiding difficult conversations. Rather, it is about responding to situations with clarity and intention. It empowers individuals to break free from reactive patterns and engage with life more thoughtfully. Whether dealing with everyday frustrations, complex conflicts, or personal challenges, mindfulness provides the tools to navigate these moments with grace and resilience. By cultivating this practice, individuals can not only reduce stress and improve relationships, but also create a ripple effect of positivity in their communities. Cultivating good karma is a practice deeply rooted in the principle of volition, the intention behind our actions. In Buddhism, karma is not a cosmic system of punishment and reward, but a natural law of cause and effect, where the quality of our actions, shaped by our intentions, influences the outcomes we experience. This understanding of karma encourages personal accountability and highlights the power individuals have to shape their own lives. When we act with kindness, generosity, and compassion, we set into motion positive effects that not only benefit others, but eventually return to us in unexpected ways. In the Western interpretation, karma is often oversimplified as a system of immediate retribution or reward, captured in phrases like, "What goes around comes around." While this captures a basic understanding, it often misses the nuanced depth of the concept in Eastern philosophy. In Buddhist thought, karma is about the ethical quality of one's actions. Rooted in volition, it is not just what we do, but why we do it, that determines the impact of our actions. A seemingly generous act performed out of self-interest, for example, carries less positive karma than a modest gesture done with genuine care for another person. Consider the story of a volunteer at a community center who dedicates their weekends to teaching underprivileged children. Their primary motivation is not recognition or personal gain, but a heartfelt desire to help these children build a better future. Years later, one of those children grows up to become a successful educator and reaches out to thank the volunteer, sharing how those weekends changed the course of their life. This example illustrates how the effects of good karma may not always be immediate or obvious, but can manifest in profound and lasting ways. Karma also serves as a framework for understanding personal accountability. It reminds us that our present circumstances are shaped, in part, by past actions, and our future will be influenced by the choices we make today. This perspective can be empowering, as it shifts the focus from blaming external factors to taking responsibility for one's actions. For example, a student who fails an exam might initially attribute their failure to a difficult teacher or an unfair test. However, upon reflection, they may realize that their lack of preparation was a significant factor. Acknowledging this empowers them to change their habits, such as creating a study schedule or seeking help from a tutor, thereby improving their chances of success in the future. The concept of karma also encourages mindfulness in daily interactions. Small acts of kindness, often overlooked, can create ripple effects that extend far beyond the initial gesture. Imagine a busy barista who takes a moment to compliment a customer's scarf. That simple, sincere comment brightens the customer's day, inspiring them to pay it forward by buying coffee for a stranger. The stranger, in turn, decides to call an old friend to reconnect, setting off a chain of positive events. These seemingly minor actions, rooted in good intentions, exemplify how cultivating good karma can enrich lives in unexpected and meaningful ways. In professional settings, the principle of karma can influence leadership styles and workplace dynamics. A manager who treats their team with respect and fairness, even in challenging situations, fosters a culture of trust and collaboration. For instance, when a project fails, a manager might choose to focus on lessons learned rather than assigning blame. This approach not only motivates the team to improve, but also strengthens their loyalty and commitment. Over time, the positive karma generated by such leadership often returns in the form of higher team morale, productivity, and success. On a larger scale, the idea of karma extends to societal and environmental issues. Choices made by individuals and organizations have far-reaching consequences, highlighting the interconnectedness of all actions. For example, a company that prioritizes sustainable practices such as reducing waste or supporting fair trade contributes to the well-being of the planet and its inhabitants. While the immediate benefits may not always be apparent, the long-term effects of these ethical choices create a legacy of good karma, fostering a healthier environment and a more equitable society. Karma's emphasis on volition also serves as a reminder to examine our intentions critically. People sometimes perform good deeds for superficial reasons, such as seeking approval or enhancing their reputation. While these actions may still produce some positive effects, their karmic impact is diminished if the underlying motive is self-serving. Genuine goodwill, on the other hand, generates purer karma and often leads to deeper, more meaningful connections. For instance, a neighbor who helps an elderly resident with yard work simply out of kindness may develop a lasting friendship, enriching both their lives. Another example of karma at work can be seen in the context of education. A teacher who goes beyond the curriculum to mentor and inspire their students often leaves an indelible mark on their lives. Years later, a former student might attribute their success to the teacher's guidance, offering heartfelt gratitude or even returning the favor by mentoring others. This cyclical nature of karma underscores the importance of nurturing positive relationships and sharing knowledge generously. Karma also encourages resilience by teaching that negative experiences are not permanent or insurmountable. When faced with setbacks, individuals can view them as opportunities to reflect, learn, and grow. For example, an entrepreneur who experiences a business failure might initially feel disheartened, but can use the experience to refine their approach and build a more successful venture in the future. This mindset transforms challenges into stepping stones for personal and professional development. In personal relationships, the principle of karma reminds us to act with empathy and understanding. Conflicts often arise when people react impulsively or hold grudges, perpetuating cycles of negativity. By choosing to respond with compassion and forgiveness, individuals can break these cycles and create positive karma. Imagine a scenario where two friends have a falling out due to a misunderstanding. Instead of harboring resentment, one friend reaches out with an apology and a willingness to listen. This act of humility and care not only mends the relationship but also deepens the bond between them. The long-term impact of good karma often extends beyond individual lives, influencing future generations. Parents who model kindness, integrity, and perseverance instill these values in their children, creating a ripple effect of positive behaviors. A child who grows up witnessing acts of generosity and fairness is more likely to embody these traits as an adult, contributing to a more compassionate and just world. Ultimately, cultivating good karma is about recognizing the interconnectedness of all actions and embracing the responsibility to contribute positively to the world. It is not about seeking immediate rewards, but about planting seeds of kindness, integrity, and compassion that will bear fruit over time, whether through small gestures or significant efforts. Every action rooted in goodwill has the potential to create lasting, transformative effects, reminding us of the profound power we hold to shape our lives and the lives of others. Living each day fully begins with the profound awareness of life's impermanence. This understanding is not meant to create fear or despair, but to inspire a deeper appreciation for the present moment and the people, experiences, and opportunities it offers. When we recognize that nothing lasts forever, we are motivated to cherish what we have and live with intention and gratitude. This perspective is especially relevant in a world where distractions, routines, and ambitions often overshadow the simple yet profound beauty of daily life. Many people spend their lives chasing distant goals, assuming they will have unlimited time to focus on what truly matters. However, life is unpredictable, and the assumption of endless tomorrows often leads to regret. For instance, consider someone who postpones calling an old friend, always thinking, "I'll do it later." Later may never come, and the opportunity to reconnect could be lost forever. Awareness of impermanence teaches us to prioritize what is meaningful now rather than waiting for a perfect moment that might never arrive. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for living fully. When we focus on what we have rather than what we lack, we shift our mindset from scarcity to abundance. This doesn't mean ignoring challenges, but finding moments of joy and appreciation even amidst difficulties. For example, a working parent may feel overwhelmed by the demands of their job and family life. By taking a moment to reflect on their child's laughter or the warmth of a family meal, they can reconnect with the reasons behind their efforts and find renewed strength. Mindfulness is another essential practice for embracing the present. It involves fully engaging with whatever we are doing, whether it's eating, working, or spending time with loved ones. Too often, people multitask, dividing their attention between several activities and missing the richness of any single moment. Picture a family at dinner where everyone is on their phones, barely speaking to each other. This common scene contrasts sharply with the mindfulness of savoring a shared meal, engaging in conversation, and truly being present. By putting aside distractions, even simple activities can become deeply fulfilling. The brevity of life often becomes most apparent in our relationships. Many people allow conflicts, misunderstandings, or pride to create distance between themselves and their loved ones. The story of a man reconnecting with his estranged father illustrates the transformative power of embracing life's impermanence. After years of resentment and silence, he receives news that his father is seriously ill. Confronted with the possibility of losing him, the man decides to visit. Despite lingering bitterness, during their time together, he begins to see his father not through the lens of past grievances, but as a human being with his own struggles and regrets. This shift in perspective allows them to reconcile and create new, meaningful memories in the time they have left. The man's decision to act, inspired by the awareness that time is finite, transforms not only their relationship, but also his understanding of forgiveness and love. Impermanence also encourages us to take risks and pursue dreams without undue hesitation. Fear of failure often holds people back, but when we recognize that life is fleeting, the potential regret of inaction outweighs the temporary discomfort of trying and failing. For example, an aspiring writer might hesitate to share their work, fearing criticism or rejection. However, by embracing the reality that opportunities are not infinite, they may find the courage to publish their story, potentially touching and inspiring others. Living each day fully also means embracing the ordinary moments that make up most of life. Grand achievements and extraordinary events are rare, but the day-to-day experiences, morning coffee, a kind word from a colleague, or a quiet walk in the park offer countless opportunities for joy and connection. A person rushing through their morning commute might view it as a tiresome obligation. Yet, with a shift in perspective, they could notice the sunrise painting the sky, the laughter of children heading to school, or the camaraderie of fellow commuters. These small, often overlooked moments can bring a sense of wonder and fulfillment when approached with mindfulness. This awareness extends to self-care and personal growth. Many people postpone taking care of their health, assuming they can address it later. However, life's impermanence reminds us that later may never come. A person who begins exercising, eating well, and managing stress today is not only investing in their future, but also enhancing their quality of life in the present. Similarly, setting aside time for hobbies, learning, or simply resting can enrich our days, reminding us that life is meant to be lived, not merely endured. Impermanence also highlights the importance of making peace with the past. Regret and guilt can weigh heavily, preventing us from fully experiencing the present. By acknowledging mistakes and seeking reconciliation where possible, we free ourselves from these burdens. For instance, a former friend might regret a falling out that occurred years ago. Reaching out with an apology or an invitation to reconnect may not erase the past, but it can open the door to healing and new beginnings. In professional life, this principle can motivate individuals to find meaning in their work and to balance ambition with mindfulness. A person striving for a promotion might become so focused on future success that they overlook the value of their current role, colleagues, and opportunities for growth. By appreciating the present while pursuing their goals, they can experience greater satisfaction and reduce the stress of always chasing the next milestone. Living fully also involves embracing change and letting go of attachments. People often cling to routines, possessions, or identities, fearing the uncertainty of change. However, impermanence is a natural part of life, and resisting it only creates suffering. A person who loses their job, for example, might initially feel devastated, viewing it as the end of their stability. Yet, by accepting the change and exploring new possibilities, they might discover a more fulfilling career path or develop skills they never knew they had. Ultimately, living each day fully is about cultivating a mindset that values presence, gratitude, and connection. It is about prioritizing what truly matters and letting go of distractions, grudges, and fears that prevent us from fully engaging with life. Whether through small acts of mindfulness, meaningful conversations, or the courage to pursue our passions, this approach allows us to make the most of the time we have, creating a life rich in joy, love, and purpose. Building positive habits is one of the most impactful ways to create lasting change in life. Habits are the small, repeated actions that shape our behavior and ultimately determine our outcomes. Buddha's wisdom about the accumulation of small efforts mirrors the understanding that success and personal growth are not achieved through sudden leaps, but through consistent, deliberate steps. In the modern world, this concept is especially relevant as people seek ways to improve their health, relationships, productivity, and overall well-being. Small actions may seem insignificant at first, but their cumulative effect can lead to transformative change. For instance, a young athlete might dream of becoming a professional runner but feels overwhelmed by the magnitude of the goal. Instead of attempting to run long distances immediately, they start by jogging for 5 minutes a day. Over time, they increase their duration and intensity, gradually building endurance and strength. This approach not only makes the process manageable, but also creates a foundation of discipline and consistency, which are essential for long-term success. One of the most important principles of building positive habits is starting small. People often make the mistake of setting overly ambitious goals, which can feel daunting and lead to burnout or discouragement. For example, someone who wants to adopt a healthier lifestyle might aim to overhaul their entire diet and commit to daily workouts all at once. While their intentions are good, such drastic changes can be difficult to sustain. A more effective approach would be to focus on one small change at a time, such as drinking an extra glass of water each day or walking for 10 minutes after dinner. Once this habit becomes ingrained, they can build on it by introducing additional healthy behaviors. Staying consistent is another key to habit formation. Research shows that habits are formed through repetition, and consistency is often more important than intensity. Consider a person who wants to start meditating. Instead of aiming for an hour-long session right away, they could begin with just 2 minutes of mindful breathing each morning. By showing up for this practice daily, no matter how brief, they develop the habit of mindfulness. As the practice becomes a natural part of their routine, they can gradually extend the time and explore deeper forms of meditation. Consistency creates momentum, turning small actions into automatic behaviors. One of the biggest challenges in forming new habits is overcoming the initial resistance. The human brain is wired to favor comfort and familiarity, which can make change feel uncomfortable. Breaking through this resistance requires commitment and a clear sense of purpose. For instance, a student who struggles with procrastination might decide to start working on assignments as soon as they are received. Initially, they may feel tempted to delay, but by focusing on the long-term benefits of reduced stress and better performance, they can push through the discomfort and establish a productive habit. Tracking progress is another powerful tool for building habits. Seeing tangible evidence of improvement can be highly motivating and reinforce the desire to continue. A person trying to exercise regularly might keep a log of their workouts, noting how far they ran or how many repetitions they completed. Over time, this record serves as a reminder of their growth and a source of encouragement on days when motivation wanes. Even simple tools, like a habit tracker or calendar, can provide a visual representation of consistency, creating a sense of accomplishment. Another effective strategy is habit stacking, which involves linking a new habit to an existing one. This approach leverages the power of established routines to anchor new behaviors. For example, someone who already has a morning coffee ritual might decide to use that time to practice gratitude by writing down 3 things they are thankful for each day. By associating the new habit with a familiar one, they make it easier to remember and integrate into their routine. Support systems can also play a significant role in habit formation. Having accountability partners or joining a community with shared goals can provide encouragement and motivation. A person trying to quit smoking, for instance, might join a support group where members share their experiences and strategies. The sense of belonging and mutual encouragement can make the journey less isolating and more manageable. Similarly, a friend or family member who checks in regularly can help reinforce commitment and celebrate milestones. The story of the young athlete illustrates how small, consistent actions can lead to significant achievements. Initially, they struggled to commit to a training routine and felt discouraged by their lack of progress. However, by setting incremental goals like running 1 extra lap each week or shaving a few seconds off their time, they gradually built both their physical abilities and their confidence. Over time, these small victories compounded, transforming them into a disciplined and accomplished runner. This approach applies to any goal, whether it's learning a new language, developing a skill, or improving mental health. One common obstacle in building habits is dealing with setbacks. People often feel discouraged when they miss a day or fall short of their goals, leading them to abandon the effort altogether. However, setbacks are a natural part of the process, and the key is to view them as learning opportunities rather than failures. For example, someone trying to adopt a daily journaling habit might skip a few days due to a busy schedule. Instead of giving up, They could reflect on what caused the lapse and adjust their approach, perhaps by journaling at a different time of day or simplifying their entries to make the habit more sustainable. Another critical aspect of building positive habits is focusing on identity rather than outcomes. Instead of fixating on specific goals, people can frame their habits as part of who they are. A person who wants to read more might start thinking of themselves as a reader and commit to reading 1 page a day. This identity-based approach shifts the focus from achieving a specific milestone to embodying the qualities associated with that habit. Over time, the consistent actions reinforce the identity, creating a positive feedback loop. Celebrating small wins is also essential for maintaining motivation. Recognizing progress, no matter how minor, reinforces the habit and boosts confidence. For instance, a person working on saving money might reward themselves after reaching a milestone, like setting aside their first $100. These celebrations don't have to be extravagant. Even simple acknowledgments, like sharing the accomplishment with a friend or treating oneself to a favorite activity, can provide a sense of satisfaction and encouragement. Ultimately, building positive habits is about creating a system that supports consistent growth. It's not about perfection or achieving results overnight, but about showing up each day and making small, intentional choices that align with one's values and goals. Over time, these small actions accumulate, leading to profound and lasting change. Whether it's exercising, learning, cultivating relationships, or improving productivity, the principles of starting small, staying consistent, and focusing on progress make the journey both manageable and rewarding. The wisdom of silence is a profound practice rooted in the ability to speak thoughtfully and listen deeply. In a world increasingly filled with noise, both literal and metaphorical, silence often carries more meaning than words. Buddhist teachings emphasize that true wisdom is not always loud. It is patient, measured, and reflective. This perspective is especially significant in the digital age, where misinformation spreads rapidly, and people are often quick to voice opinions without fully understanding the topic or considering alternative perspectives. Silence, paired with thoughtful communication and active listening, can be a powerful antidote to the impulsiveness that characterizes much of today's discourse. Speaking thoughtfully requires an awareness of the impact our words can have. Words are not just sounds. They shape perceptions, influence emotions, and can either build or destroy relationships. Consider a moment of frustration during a heated discussion. In such situations, it's easy to say something hurtful or unnecessary in the heat of the moment. However, pausing to reflect before speaking can prevent misunderstandings and preserve trust. For example, a parent addressing their child's misbehavior might initially feel compelled to scold harshly. Yet, by taking a moment to compose their thoughts, the parent could choose a gentler, more constructive approach, such as explaining the consequences of the child's actions. This thoughtful communication not only resolves the issue more effectively, but also strengthens the parent-child relationship. Listening deeply is equally important. Many people listen not to understand, but to respond, waiting for their turn to speak rather than engaging with what the other person is saying. Deep listening involves focusing entirely on the speaker, observing their tone, body language, and emotions, and withholding judgment. Imagine a friend sharing a personal struggle. Instead of offering unsolicited advice or interrupting with your own experiences, practicing deep listening means creating a space for them to express themselves fully. A simple acknowledgement, such as "I hear you," or "that sounds really difficult," can provide more comfort and validation than an attempt to fix their problem. In the digital age, the importance of humility in communication cannot be overstated. The sheer volume of information available online has made it easier than ever for misinformation to spread. Social media platforms often reward quick, sensational responses over nuanced, informed ones, creating an environment where people feel pressured to take sides or voice opinions on complex issues without adequate knowledge. Silence, in this context, is not passivity but an act of humility and wisdom. It allows space for reflection, research, and a deeper understanding of the topic before engaging in the conversation. A practical example of this can be seen in the behavior of a debate coach teaching students the art of effective communication. Instead of encouraging them to dominate their opponents with loud arguments, the coach emphasizes the value of listening. The students learn to understand their opponent's perspective, identify common ground, and respond thoughtfully rather than reacting emotionally. This approach not only improves their debating skills, but also fosters respect and empathy, even in the context of disagreement. Over time, these lessons extend beyond the debate stage, influencing how they interact in personal and professional relationships. The wisdom of silence also applies to navigating conflicts. Arguments often escalate because both parties focus on being heard rather than understanding each other. Silence, when used intentionally, can defuse tension and create an opportunity for resolution. For instance, during a disagreement between coworkers, one might choose to remain silent instead of retaliating with a defensive remark. This pause can signal a willingness to listen, encouraging the other person to lower their guard and engage in a more productive dialogue. Over time, this practice of mindful communication builds trust and strengthens workplace relationships. Humility in communication is particularly relevant in leadership. Effective leaders understand that their words carry weight and choose them carefully. They also recognize the value of listening to diverse perspectives before making decisions. For example, a manager faced with a challenging project might call a team meeting to gather input from employees at all levels. By listening without preconceived judgments, the manager not only gains valuable insights, but also demonstrates respect for their team's expertise. This creates a culture of collaboration and openness, where employees feel valued and motivated to contribute. The role of silence and self-reflection is another critical aspect of this wisdom. In moments of quiet, people can examine their thoughts, emotions, and actions more clearly. This practice is particularly beneficial for personal growth, as it allows individuals to identify patterns and make intentional changes. Consider someone who struggles with impulsivity. By setting aside time for daily reflection, they can review situations where they acted hastily, understand the triggers, and develop strategies to respond more thoughtfully in the future. Over time, this habit cultivates greater self-awareness and emotional regulation. Silence also enhances the quality of relationships by creating space for genuine connection. In an era where multitasking is common, giving someone your full attention is a rare and powerful act. Imagine a couple having dinner together, each immersed in their phones, while they are physically present. The lack of meaningful interaction creates emotional distance. In contrast, choosing to set aside devices and focus entirely on each other transforms the meal into an opportunity for bonding and mutual understanding. These moments of intentional silence and attention can deepen intimacy and strengthen the relationship over time. The wisdom of silence is not about avoiding communication, but about elevating its quality. It teaches us to prioritize substance over noise, understanding over judgment, and empathy over ego. In doing so, it fosters an environment where trust, respect, and meaningful dialogue can flourish. Whether in personal relationships, professional settings, or public discourse, the practice of speaking thoughtfully and listening deeply offers a pathway to greater harmony and understanding. By embracing the power of silence, individuals can navigate life's complexities with greater clarity and purpose. It encourages humility, reminding us that we don't always have to have the last word or the perfect answer. Instead, we can find strength in restraint, choosing our words and actions carefully and ensuring that they reflect our values and intentions. In a world filled with constant chatter, the wisdom of silence remains a timeless and transformative practice. Compassion in conflict is one of the most transformative principles for resolving disputes and creating meaningful change. Breaking the cycle of hatred and aggression with nonviolence is not just a lofty ideal, it is a practical strategy that can profoundly impact relationships, communities, and even global conflicts. Compassion requires courage, patience, and the ability to see beyond immediate emotions, but its effects can be extraordinary. It disarms aggression, diffuses tension, and creates opportunities for understanding and growth. Even in the most challenging situations, Hatred often perpetuates itself in cycles. A hurtful comment leads to an angry retort, which provokes further hostility, escalating the conflict. This pattern is common in personal relationships, workplaces, and social interactions. Compassion interrupts this cycle by responding to aggression not with retaliation, but with understanding and kindness. It recognizes that behind every act of hostility is often pain, insecurity, or misunderstanding. Instead of reacting defensively, compassion seeks to address the root cause of the aggression and create a pathway toward resolution. Consider the story of a bullied teenager who decided to confront their tormentor with kindness rather than anger. For months, the teenager endured ridicule and taunts from a classmate, feeling helpless and frustrated. One day, instead of retaliating, they approached the bully and asked if everything was okay. This unexpected act of empathy caught the bully off guard. It turned out that the bully was struggling with personal issues at home and had been taking out their frustrations on others. Over time, this simple gesture of compassion helped the bully see the impact of their actions and begin to change. What could have remained a destructive cycle of hostility transformed into an opportunity for growth and understanding, all because of one person's willingness to respond with kindness. Kindness in the face of conflict is not about condoning bad behavior or avoiding accountability. Rather, it is about creating a space where meaningful change can occur. In the workplace, for example, disputes often arise from misunderstandings, competition, or misaligned goals. Without compassion, these conflicts can escalate into unproductive tensions that harm morale and collaboration. Imagine a scenario where two employees argue over credit for a successful project. Each feels undervalued and grows increasingly defensive. A compassionate manager intervenes by acknowledging the contributions of both employees and facilitating a conversation about their shared goals and frustrations. By focusing on understanding rather than blame, the manager helps the employees move past their conflict and work together more effectively. Practical tools for managing workplace disputes with compassion include active listening, reframing negative narratives, and focusing on shared interests. Active listening involves giving the other person your full attention, validating their feelings, and showing genuine interest in their perspective. This approach helps to escalate tension by making the other person feel heard and respected. For instance, in a disagreement between a supervisor and an employee over workload expectations, the supervisor might begin by asking the employee to share their concerns without interruption. By truly listening, the supervisor can identify underlying issues. Perhaps the employee feels overwhelmed or unsupported, and work collaboratively to find a solution. Reframing is another powerful tool for cultivating compassion in conflict. It involves shifting the narrative from us versus them to a more constructive perspective. For example, in a workplace dispute over resource allocation, team members might initially view each other as obstacles to their own success. A compassionate approach reframes the situation by emphasizing shared goals, such as the team's overall success or meeting organizational objectives. This shift encourages collaboration and reduces the adversarial tone that often exacerbates conflicts. Compassion also requires self-awareness and emotional regulation. When emotions run high, it's easy to react impulsively or say something regrettable. Taking a moment to pause, breathe, and reflect on the situation can make a significant difference. A manager dealing with an underperforming employee, for instance, might feel frustrated and tempted to issue harsh criticism. However, by pausing to consider the employee's perspective, perhaps they are struggling with personal challenges or lack clarity about expectations, the manager can approach the conversation with empathy and support. This not only addresses the issue more effectively, but also fosters trust and loyalty. Nonviolent communication, NVC, is another valuable framework for managing conflicts with compassion. NVC emphasizes expressing feelings and needs without blame and seeking mutually beneficial solutions. For example, instead of saying, "You never meet deadlines, and it's ruining the project," one might say, "I feel stressed when deadlines are missed because it impacts the team's progress. How can we work together to ensure tasks are completed on time?" This approach avoids triggering defensiveness and opens the door to constructive dialogue. The ripple effects of compassion in conflict extend beyond immediate disputes. Acts of kindness and understanding inspire others to respond similarly, creating a culture of respect and cooperation. In families, workplaces, and communities, leading with compassion sets an example that others are likely to follow. For instance, a teacher who consistently handles classroom conflicts with patience and empathy not only resolves individual issues, but also teaches students the value of kindness and respect, shaping their behavior for years to come. Compassion is particularly powerful when addressing systemic or societal conflicts. Movements led by figures like Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. demonstrate how nonviolence and empathy can bring about significant change. These leaders recognized that hatred could not be defeated with more hatred. Only love and understanding could break the cycle. While most people may not lead movements of this scale, their daily actions still contribute to broader societal harmony. Choosing to respond to disagreements on social media with civility, engaging in open-minded discussions, or volunteering to support marginalized communities are all ways to practice compassion on a larger scale. On a personal level, practicing compassion in conflict requires letting go of the ego. Often, people feel the need to win arguments or assert dominance, which only deepens divides. Compassion shifts the focus from winning to understanding, from asserting power to building bridges. For example, a sibling rivalry might lead to years of strained interactions. Instead of continuing to compete or harbor resentment, one sibling might take the initiative to apologize for past misunderstandings and express a desire to rebuild the relationship. This act of humility and kindness can pave the way for healing and reconnection. Compassion is not always easy, especially when faced with hostility or aggression. It takes strength to remain calm and empathetic in the face of provocation. However, the long-term benefits far outweigh the initial effort. By responding with kindness, individuals break free from the cycle of retaliation and create opportunities for mutual growth and understanding. Whether it's a bullied teenager transforming their relationship with a tormentor, a manager fostering collaboration in the workplace, or a family member mending a fractured bond, compassion in conflict is a powerful tool for creating lasting peace and harmony. Choosing quality friendships is one of the most significant decisions we make in life. The people we surround ourselves with have a profound influence on our thoughts, habits, and overall well-being. Buddha emphasized the importance of associating with noble companions, those who inspire us to grow, encourage virtuous behavior, and support us in our challenges. This timeless wisdom is especially relevant today, where the quality of relationships often determines the trajectory of our personal and professional lives. Friendships are not merely social conveniences. They are foundational to personal growth and resilience. Positive relationships provide a safe space to share ideas, express emotions, and seek guidance. When faced with adversity, having a circle of supportive friends can make the difference between feeling defeated and finding the strength to persevere. For instance, consider someone recovering from a major setback, such as losing a job. While the initial reaction may be one of despair, friends who offer encouragement, practical advice, and emotional support can help them regain confidence and explore new opportunities. These friendships act as a buffer against life's challenges, fostering resilience and hope. The role of friendships in personal growth is equally important. Surrounding oneself with individuals who share similar values and goals can create an environment of mutual motivation and accountability. For example, a student preparing for a challenging exam might benefit from studying with peers who are equally committed to success. The group dynamic encourages discipline, as each member pushes the others to stay focused and work hard. Additionally, exchanging knowledge and perspectives within the group enhances understanding and fosters a sense of camaraderie. On the other hand, negative or toxic relationships can hinder growth and lead to unhealthy behaviors. Friendships that are built on competition, manipulation, or superficiality often leave individuals feeling drained and unfulfilled. A person trying to quit smoking, for instance, might find it incredibly difficult if their closest friends encourage the habit or dismiss their efforts. Recognizing the impact of such influences is the first step toward prioritizing quality over quantity in friendships. The story of a struggling artist highlights the transformative power of supportive friendships. Early in their career, the artist faced constant rejection and self-doubt, questioning whether they had chosen the right path. Alone, they might have given up, overwhelmed by the challenges of the creative industry. However, they found a community of fellow artists who understood their struggles and offered encouragement. These friends celebrated each other's small victories, shared constructive feedback, and collaborated on projects, creating a nurturing environment where creativity could thrive. Over time, the artists not only improved their craft but also gained the confidence to showcase their work, ultimately achieving the success they once doubted was possible. This story illustrates how the right friendships can provide both emotional support and practical benefits, turning obstacles into stepping stones. In today's world, where social media often blurs the lines between acquaintances and true friends, it's crucial to distinguish between superficial connections and meaningful relationships. Having thousands of online followers may create the illusion of popularity, but it does not guarantee the depth and authenticity of real friendships. Genuine friends are those who show up in times of need, offer honest advice, and celebrate your successes without envy. They are the ones who invest time and effort into maintaining the relationship, even when it's inconvenient or challenging. Building quality friendships requires intentional effort and self-awareness. It begins with understanding one's own values and seeking out people who align with them. For example, someone who values honesty and kindness will naturally gravitate toward individuals who demonstrate these traits. This alignment creates a foundation of trust and mutual respect, which are essential for any strong friendship. Additionally, being a good friend oneself, showing empathy, keeping commitments, and communicating openly attracts like-minded individuals and strengthens existing bonds. Resilience in friendships often comes from shared experiences and a willingness to navigate conflicts together. Disagreements are inevitable in any relationship, but how they are handled determines the strength of the bond. A friendship built on mutual respect can withstand differences in opinion or temporary misunderstandings. For instance, two friends may argue over a sensitive topic but ultimately resolve the issue by listening to each other's perspectives and acknowledging their feelings. This process not only repairs the relationship but also deepens the connection, proving that conflicts, when approached with compassion, can be opportunities for growth. The benefits of quality friendships extend beyond emotional well-being to physical health as well. Studies have shown that people with strong social connections are less likely to experience depression, anxiety, and chronic illnesses. A friend who encourages healthy habits, such as exercising together or cooking nutritious meals, can have a significant positive impact on one's lifestyle. For instance, a group of friends who commit to running a marathon together not only motivate each other to train consistently, but also share a sense of accomplishment upon achieving their goal. This shared journey reinforces the idea that friendships rooted in positive behaviors can lead to lasting benefits. In professional settings, friendships can play a crucial role in career development and success. Networking is often cited as a key factor in advancing one's career. But true professional friendships go beyond exchanging business cards. They involve mentorship, collaboration, and mutual support. For example, a young entrepreneur might find guidance and encouragement from a more experienced peer who offers advice and connections. In return, the entrepreneur's fresh perspective and enthusiasm might inspire their mentor, creating a mutually beneficial relationship. Friendships also teach valuable life skills, such as empathy, communication, and adaptability. Engaging with people from diverse backgrounds and perspectives broadens one's understanding of the world and fosters tolerance and acceptance. For instance, a person who befriends someone from a different culture gains insights into traditions, beliefs, and experiences they might never have encountered otherwise. These friendships not only enrich one's life, but also contribute to a more inclusive and compassionate society. Ultimately, choosing quality friendships is about prioritizing depth over breadth. It's better to have a few close friends who truly understand and support you than to have many acquaintances who lack genuine connection. These relationships are not defined by proximity or frequency of interaction, but by the mutual care and commitment shared between individuals. Whether it's a childhood friend who has stood by you through life's ups and downs, or a new acquaintance who inspires you to grow, the impact of a meaningful friendship is immeasurable. The journey to building and maintaining such friendships requires patience, vulnerability, and intentionality. It involves letting go of relationships that no longer serve your growth and making space for those that do. It also requires the courage to be open, to invest time and energy, and to show up not only in moments of joy, but also in times of difficulty. These efforts are rewarded with connections that enrich your life, providing the support, encouragement, and inspiration needed to navigate life's challenges and celebrate its triumphs. Practicing generosity is a value that transcends cultures, generations, and social classes, with the potential to transform both individuals and communities. The ripple effect of kindness is something that not only benefits the recipient but also spreads outward, affecting countless others in ways that may not always be immediately visible. Whether it's a small act of kindness or a large-scale charitable initiative, the idea of giving has the power to create lasting change. Generosity is not just about material wealth or resources. It encompasses time, energy, compassion, and empathy. It's about giving without expecting anything in return, cultivating a spirit of selflessness that can inspire others to do the same. In the modern world, where individualism often takes precedence, generosity can sometimes seem like a rare or undervalued trait. However, when we look beyond the surface, we can see that acts of generosity are essential for building a sense of community, fostering connection, and improving the quality of life for everyone involved. One of the most powerful aspects of generosity is the concept of paying it forward. This idea, popularized in recent years, suggests that when someone receives kindness, they should, in turn, extend that kindness to others, creating a cycle of goodwill that continues indefinitely. This principle isn't new. Of course, it's been present in various forms across many cultures for centuries, from the concept of doing unto others in Christianity to the emphasis on selfless giving in Buddhist philosophy. However, the act of paying it forward has gained increasing importance in our interconnected, fast-paced world, where personal gain often overshadows collective well-being. By practicing generosity and encouraging others to do the same, we can shift this narrative and create a culture of kindness that benefits everyone involved. One of the most compelling reasons for practicing generosity is its ability to strengthen communities. When people come together to support one another, they create a sense of unity and shared purpose that transcends individual concerns. A community is more than just a collection of individuals. It is a collective entity built on trust, cooperation, and mutual respect. Generosity helps to nurture these qualities, allowing people to bond over shared experiences and work together to address common challenges. For example, in a neighborhood where residents look out for one another, whether by helping an elderly neighbor with groceries or volunteering at a local shelter, the sense of connection strengthens. Over time, these small acts of kindness accumulate, building a foundation of support that allows the entire community to thrive. This spirit of generosity can also serve as a powerful motivator for social change. When individuals are generous with their time, resources, and efforts, they help to lift others up, creating a ripple effect that can extend far beyond the original act of giving. This is especially true in the context of community service, where a single person's willingness to help can inspire a wave of others to join in. For instance, a local food drive started by one person in a neighborhood can spark a larger initiative, with more people contributing food, money, and volunteer hours to support those in need. This process, when sustained over time, can lead to significant improvements in the lives of those who may have been marginalized or overlooked by society. A powerful example of how generosity can create a lasting ripple effect comes from a story of a neighborhood that came together to help a family in need. The family, struggling due to illness and financial hardship, had been having a difficult time making ends meet. When word spread through the neighborhood about their plight, a group of neighbors decided to step in. Some donated money, others offered meals, and a few volunteered to help with childcare and household chores. The generosity was contagious, and soon more people were contributing in whatever way they could. This initial act of kindness not only helped the family during their time of crisis, but also sparked a tradition of giving within the neighborhood every year. As a result of the positive impact of their collective efforts, the neighbors began organizing an annual giving event. This tradition brought people together in a meaningful way, strengthening relationships and creating a shared sense of purpose. Over time, the neighborhood became known for its generosity, attracting new residents who were drawn to the sense of community and support that permeated the area. In this case, a single act of kindness had a lasting impact on both the family and the entire neighborhood, creating a tradition of giving that endured for years. The ripple effect of generosity is not limited to immediate family or close-knit communities. It can extend to larger, more global contexts. In an increasingly interconnected world, acts of kindness can spread far beyond our local environments. Consider, for example, how charitable donations or social media campaigns can mobilize people from different parts of the world to contribute to a cause they believe in. Platforms like GoFundMe, Kickstarter, and others have made it easier for individuals to share their stories and receive support from a wide network of people who want to help. This concept of global generosity allows people from all walks of life to contribute to causes that resonate with them, whether they involve helping disaster-stricken communities, funding educational initiatives, or supporting health-related research. In addition to its role in fostering unity and inspiring collective action, generosity also has a profound effect on the giver. Numerous studies have shown that giving, whether through time or resources, is associated with increased happiness and well-being. Helping others can give individuals a sense of purpose and fulfillment, reinforcing their sense of identity and connection to the world around them. This is particularly evident in volunteer work, where individuals report feeling a deep sense of satisfaction and joy when they see the positive impact of their efforts on others. For example, a person who volunteers at a homeless shelter may initially do so out of a sense of duty or obligation. However, over time, they begin to experience the emotional rewards of helping those in need. The gratitude expressed by the people they help, combined with the sense of accomplishment that comes from making a difference, fosters a deep sense of inner fulfillment. This feeling of personal growth and contribution is often more rewarding than any material gain and can lead to a greater sense of meaning and purpose in life. Another aspect of generosity that is often overlooked is its potential for personal growth and transformation. When individuals practice generosity, they challenge themselves to step outside of their comfort zones and consider the needs of others. In doing so, they develop greater empathy, understanding, and compassion, qualities that are essential for building strong, healthy relationships. Generosity also encourages a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity, fostering a sense of trust in the world and in the people around them. This mindset shift can lead to greater resilience and a more positive outlook on life. Even in the face of adversity, generosity also plays a significant role in shaping societal values and norms. In cultures where generosity is celebrated and promoted, there is often a greater emphasis on collective well-being and social responsibility. Acts of kindness, whether through donating to charity, supporting local businesses, or volunteering for community projects, become integral parts of the cultural fabric. In such societies, generosity is not seen as a rare or exceptional act, but as a fundamental part of the human experience. This creates an environment where people are more likely to help one another, share resources, and work together to address shared challenges. The ripple effect of kindness is not always immediate, nor does it always look the way we expect it to. Sometimes, the full impact of our generosity may not be felt until years down the line, or it may take a different form than we anticipated. However, this does not diminish the importance of practicing generosity. Each act of kindness, no matter how small, contributes to a larger movement of goodwill that has the power to change lives and communities, whether it's through volunteering, donating, or simply being there for someone in need. The practice of generosity is an investment in both the present and the future, creating a world that is more compassionate, connected, and resilient. Buddha's teachings, often seen through the lens of a deeply spiritual philosophy, are not confined to religious dogma. They transcend cultural, religious, and even geographic boundaries, offering practical wisdom that resonates with people across the world, regardless of their background. At their core, the teachings of the Buddha are about understanding the nature of the mind, the world, and our place in it. They provide us with tools for living more mindfully, cultivating peace, and addressing suffering in ways that are both simple and profound. What is remarkable about these teachings is their universal appeal. They are not rooted in ancient rituals or rituals that can only be practiced within the confines of a particular tradition. Instead, Buddha's insights into human nature, our desires, our attachments, and the way we relate to the world around us are relevant today in a way that continues to impact millions of lives across generations. While many people encounter Buddhism through its traditional rituals or practices, it is the practical wisdom within Buddha's words that can be applied to everyday life, no matter the context. This is why his teachings have endured for over 2,500 years, remaining as relevant now as they were when first spoken. One of the central tenets of Buddha's philosophy is the idea that life is a process of continuous change and learning. It's not about adhering to a set of rigid beliefs, but rather embracing a process of personal growth and transformation. His teachings encourage us to explore life with an open mind, to reflect on our thoughts and actions, and to let go of those things that bring us suffering, so we can move toward a state of inner peace and freedom. This pursuit of wisdom is something that anyone, regardless of their personal beliefs, can take to heart and apply in their daily life. The teachings themselves are not about following a set of dogmatic rules, but about learning to see the world and ourselves more clearly. When we learn to observe our thoughts, our reactions, and our behaviors, we begin to understand the root causes of our suffering. We realize that many of our challenges come from within our attachments, our desires, and our tendency to react impulsively to situations rather than responding with mindfulness and compassion. Buddha's teachings ask us to reflect on these patterns and to work toward breaking them. This is particularly important in our modern world, where distractions and demands on our time often leave us feeling overwhelmed, stressed, and disconnected from the present moment. In such a fast-paced environment, it's easy to forget the simple truth that happiness and peace are not found in external circumstances, but within ourselves. The Buddha's wisdom encourages us to shift our focus inward, to find contentment and clarity in our thoughts and actions, and to cultivate a mindset that is open, balanced, and free of attachment. But applying Buddha's teachings doesn't require us to renounce the world or retreat from everyday life. Quite the opposite. Buddha's wisdom is about how we live in the world, how we relate to the people and experiences around us, and how we develop a deeper understanding of ourselves. He taught us the importance of mindfulness, of living in the present moment, and of cultivating good habits, all of which can bring peace and fulfillment to our lives. Through simple but profound practices like meditation, mindful breathing, and self-reflection, we can develop the mental clarity and emotional resilience needed to navigate life's challenges with grace and wisdom. There's a common misconception that the path to enlightenment is a difficult or esoteric one, accessible only to a select few. But Buddha made it clear that the journey toward understanding and wisdom begins with a single step, a step that anyone, regardless of their situation or background, can take. The first step is simply the willingness to open ourselves to new possibilities, to question our assumptions, and to be willing to change. It's about learning to look at life through a lens of curiosity rather than judgment, and to cultivate an awareness of our thoughts and feelings without attachment or aversion. By doing so, we can begin to unravel the complexities of our inner world, and over time, find a sense of balance, peace, and connection that is deeply fulfilling. In the end, it is not about reaching a particular destination or achieving a specific goal. The journey itself is where the wisdom lies. Every step we take toward understanding ourselves, our world, and our relationships is a step toward greater clarity and deeper insight. Whether we are facing a difficult situation, dealing with stress, or simply trying to live with more intention and purpose, The teachings of the Buddha provide us with a framework for living a life that is both meaningful and grounded in wisdom. As we reflect on the lessons that Buddha's teachings offer, it's important to consider how we can integrate these insights into our daily lives. How can we cultivate mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom in the midst of our busy schedules? How can we apply the principles of the middle way, finding balance between extremes when we're caught up in the demands of work, family, and personal aspirations? How can we respond to the inevitable challenges that life throws at us with patience, understanding, and kindness? One way to start is by making small, conscious choices that reflect the values Buddha taught. This could be as simple as pausing for a moment of mindfulness before reacting to a difficult situation, choosing to listen more attentively to others, or practicing generosity even in small ways. These actions, while seemingly minor, have the power to transform not only our lives but the lives of those around us. The journey to enlightenment begins with a single step. This quote encapsulates the essence of Buddha's teachings. Enlightenment is not a distant goal but a lifelong process of learning, growing, and refining our understanding of the world. Every step we take on this path brings us closer to inner peace, greater clarity, and a deeper connection to ourselves and others. As you reflect on these teachings, think about how you can apply them in your own life. Perhaps you've faced moments of suffering or uncertainty that could benefit from the wisdom of the Buddha. Or maybe you're looking for ways to cultivate more compassion and mindfulness in your relationships with others. Whatever your personal journey may look like, know that each step you take in applying Buddha's teachings is a step toward greater peace and fulfillment. I encourage you to share your experiences of how these lessons have impacted your life. How have you applied mindfulness or compassion in your own daily interactions? Have you noticed any changes in how you respond to stress or challenges? By sharing your stories, you not only deepen your own understanding but also contribute to a larger conversation about the relevance of Buddhist teachings in the modern world. The more we share our experiences and insights, the more we can inspire others to take their own steps toward greater wisdom, compassion, and peace. In a world that often feels fragmented and chaotic, the teachings of the Buddha provide a much-needed guide to living with intention, kindness, and wisdom. By reflecting on these lessons and incorporating them into our daily lives, we can transform not only ourselves but the world around us, creating a ripple effect of positivity, compassion, and peace that can be felt by all. And there you have it, a journey through the timeless teachings of the Buddha, offering us practical, everyday wisdom that can help us navigate the complexities of modern life. From understanding suffering to cultivating compassion, these lessons are more than just ancient philosophy. They are tools we can use right now to bring peace, balance, and meaning into our hectic lives. I hope today's video gave you a new perspective on how we can approach life's challenges with mindfulness and clarity. If any of the stories or lessons resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. How do you apply these teachings in your own life? What's one lesson you'd like to start practicing today? Remember, the journey to greater wisdom and peace begins with that first step, and today, you've taken it. So let's continue this journey together. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share with someone who could benefit from these lessons, and subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. I have so much more in store for you, and I can't wait to keep exploring life's big questions with you. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay curious, stay mindful, and keep learning. See you in the next video.